This is a Minecraft world teeming with hundreds of different species of animals. I'll be spending the next 100 days transforming this patch of grass into a thriving zoo, complete with a museum, restaurant, and villagers that I definitely didn't imprison here. I'll also be playing in hardcore mode, which means my chances of being eaten by my own animals is unfortunately rather high. If you go on to enjoy this video, consider subscribing. It helps me produce more like this. Grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's begin with day 1. Welcome everybody, let's get started on this world, shall we? We've spawned in a jungle, which honestly isn't the worst start in the world. We'll of course get ourselves started with a wooden pickaxe, and then we'll of course upgrade to some stone tools. I mean, you guys know the drill. One of the reasons I like starting in the jungle is the sheer amount of melons in here, and also we've got our first new modded creature. That's an ant right there. Not gonna lie, when it comes to Minecraft, I'm pretty big and greedy. I need lots and lots of food to keep me sustained. The abundance of melons usually makes that easier, although I'm not finding any now. Our spawn is next to quite a wide range of biomes, which is really nice. We've got the jungle, the mesa, and a desert as well. Oh, and there's a bamboo jungle over there as well, so we can get pandas. Looking at the world map, we even have a plains and a birch forest. Let's head over to the plains because there's probably a bunch of passive animals over there that we can either breed or just kill for food, and plus it might be a good area to start building in. We've finally found ourselves a nice big stash of melons. There's even a savanna nearby. That's perfect. And look at that, we're already running into some wild bison out here on the plains. I couldn't figure out what this weird little fleshy creature was at first. It's a baby bison. I'm sure we could get rid of a few guys and they'd taste absolutely delicious, but not gonna lie, right now we would just get absolutely mauled. Death by bison impalement is not the sort of thing I want to explore. Also, I can just very barely make out a village up on the hill there. This might actually be the god seed. I'll leave it in the description for you guys. I don't know what it is. This is a randomly generated world. Am I going crazy, or does this portal not have either a chest or a gold block? That's just a ridiculous scam. It doesn't. What do you mean, man? That's insane. This plains area is probably perfect for what I want to build, although I do want to check it out with free cam first. I mean, this looks pretty perfect to me. We are going to have to patch up some little bits here like this ravine, but this looks very workable. Let's bolt over to this village and break into someone's house for safety because I do not like being out and about at night while we have no gear. Can I just go and live in space instead? That looks so pretty. One of the villagers must have already been mauled by the bison. That's the only reason I can think that this house is even empty. Can I help you? Let's just, Oh, I was going to push him in the river, but he's gone. He's got a whole crib to himself. He must have been posting daily Family Guy slop shorts or something. I mean, there's probably generational wealth in those, let's be honest. I'll definitely be back to steal these crops. That's a very lucrative investment. Got a librarian with looting 3, not terrible. And we'll, of course, steal all of his bookshelves. Oh, look, it's the unemployed villager. Being a YouTuber, I can relate. We'll craft up all of his hard-earned wheat into bread, and we'll ignore him as he stares judgmentally at us. Hey, and there's more food in here. There's quite a lot of vanilla animals around, but I don't really want to focus on them for our zoo, because otherwise it will feel more like a farm. This guy's new. We've got a little terrapin, apparently. This place just goes on forever, and also there's some very nice natural resources here, so we'll pilfer those as well. Sometimes mining a coal vein feels like signing your life away into servitude. I will be here for the next 10 minutes finding new pieces of coal. There we go. Look, there's even some copper here that's just shown up. Let's head up to the top of the church here. This will be the tallest point. We can see out all over our new land. There's even a snowy mountain here. This is a perfect seed, I'm telling you guys. Before we leave the village, I do want to collect my free iron golem stimulus check. Got your nose. Oh, he really didn't like that. He really did not like that. Why is it all just bumpy around here? Come along, follow me. Got your nose. Got your nose. Got your nose. You're not very good at this game. How much iron did we get? 3? It's fine. Also, I love how I've been in this world for like 20 minutes at most, and I've already somehow made a second crafting table like a complete buffoon. Let's get ourselves our first iron pick. Hello, we've got a little raccoon over here. That's quite cute. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not really surprised about the second crafting table. After all, I am the man that once said in the video I was going to smelt glass into sand for windows. I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. It's the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm just proving my point here. Also, this could be a promising cave to start with. I mean, before I even said about building the first part of this place, I want some decent tools. Before we actually go into the caves, though, I want to collect plenty of wood. And that is going to be made very, very easy thanks to our tree chopping mod. Quality of life stuff like that really helps in these videos because it means we can focus on the actual building rather than the monotonous task of collecting blocks. That's not to say there won't be manual labor and suffering in this video. I mean, this whole area does need to be flattened and properly terraformed. I also want to craft up a shield because I do not want to face mobs in hardcore mode without a get out of jail free card. Oh, and while our iron smelts, I can just read the animal dictionary we've been given. There are so many creatures in just this one mod, it's insane. This isn't by any means a checklist, more an inspiration page where we can figure out what we want to put in our zoo. For example, this thing, no, just No, it's a bad idea. Look at it. That screams bad idea to me. I don't mind having a few more fantastical out there creatures like the frost stalkers in our zoo, but I mainly want to keep it to normal animals like these snow leopards and these elephants. I mean, just look at some of these. No one says, oh, let's go to the zoo so we can look at the gigantic muscular bug man. Oh, I thought this was a deep dark cave. Instead, it's just a puddle of water. There's somehow magma down here, and I really thought these were diamonds for about a few milliseconds. That's fine. We'll just head over to the ravine on the other side. This could be interesting. This is the type of thing a cave diver would jump straight in while having a loving family and kids at home. And the place is always called something like the Devil's Hairy Armpit, and they're just so eager to go in there. Maybe think twice. Having said that, there is iron here, so our very first mob, it's not all that it's hyped up to be honest. See, old me would have probably turned that into the most intense battle ever and put intense music over it and everything, but it's just not worth it. So far, every single cave in this place has been absolutely dreadful, so let's see if the ravine can change the trend. We've got iron, so that's a good start, and we've got more coal here to keep our torch supplies up. I was about to mine up a bunch of copper, but I've just remembered that's only in 1.21 where they've added the copper tools and stuff. We're in 1.20. No, the cave just stops here. I'm just going to create a standard little mine right here. I want to decorate the entrance so bad. This would be perfect for a little mining area with some mine carts out here and some stacks of ores, but we don't have the resources yet. I'm hoping that we'll leave these caves with full iron armor, a diamond pickaxe, and enough diamonds for an enchanting table. Our first iron pickaxe is gone, and we have found precisely nothing so far, so that's a lovely start. Hey, lapis, that's a good find. There's got to be something down here, right? Right? I'm going to start talking to the walls in a minute. Yes! The blind dedication to just digging straight down has finally worked. This literally just feels like this image. I'm putting it up on screen right now. In order to get down, I could dig all the way over, or I could just break my legs. There's multiple instances of diamonds in this cave. We are off to a beautiful start. Although not when there's this many skeletons around, because that's going to end us pretty quick. We've got 2 diamonds from here. That's a perfect start. And there's plenty of iron in this spot. While I'm down here in these caves, I want to say sorry to the Bedrock players. I owe you guys an apology. I was not familiar with your game, because I've been playing Bedrock casually recently, and the caves are just so much more difficult. All the enemies spawn constantly, even on normal difficulty, and the skeletons just never miss. There's our first piece of armor crafted up, a shiny new chestplate. There is a geode here, which could have some interesting potential. I'm not sure what we'd use the blocks for, but it's here if we want it. I love the mechanic where mobs randomly just start beating each other up. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the game. They're like a group of incompetent henchmen that a villain has. What is this? The explode and ruin my entire day club? Let's just not deal with this, please. Thank you. Oh my god, he nearly just ruined my day. He joined in. He felt left out. He invited himself in. I'm always saying it. The shield, it's a get out of jail free card. I don't even know how many times that thing has saved me. These caves just go on forever. Although, hey, I'm not complaining. It means we're going to get more than enough resources. Do we have enough iron for a full suit now? No, but we're close. There is a bunch of gold which we could grab for golden apples, but we're going to be raiding bastions later, I'm sure, so it doesn't seem like there's much point. There was diamonds hidden beneath this iron. Praise the Minecraft gods. It was just one, but I'm not going to be ungrateful, because if I am, I'm definitely getting exploded by a creep within the next 3 seconds. Alright, bosh, let's chuck that in there. And now we can make some leggings and a pair of boots. And we also have enough diamonds for the pickaxe I was talking about. With this iron helmet, our armor set is now complete. Okay, this is not really a situation I wanted to be in. Why are you just assaulting me in the street? In the middle of this cave street? That doesn't make any sense. Just die. Thank you. I'll fish for some more diamonds down here, and then I'm done. And actually, we need to collect some obsidian as well. We found our lava pit at least, so let's get some iron smelted up for a bucket. I'm chasing this one water source that's all the way up here. Finally. Well, I remember we'll upgrade our full suite of tools to iron. Instead of the usual 14 obsidian, 10 for a portal, and 4 for the enchanting table, we're actually going to collect 18. And that's because the item that we're going to use to transport mobs, the master capture cell, requires 4 pieces of obsidian itself. Also, are you serious? I was just mining that. Well, we've got 18 now, but I think we actually need 4 more for an extra capture cell, because we'll probably want more than 1 mob per exhibit. We've got almost all the resources we need. We're just missing 2 diamonds for an enchanting table. And speaking of the devil, there we go. I think it's just going to be exactly 2, which is perfectly fine. Back up to our mine we go. Before we get on with anything else, we are doing some enchanting. This is actually one of my #1 tips for starting a new survival world, is just rush for enchanting as soon as possible and then get Unbreaking 1 on your tools. You might not think it's a lot, but just Unbreaking 1 will double the lifespan of whatever it's applied to. Unbreaking 2, that's even better. As for armor though, I'm just going to go with standard protection 1. Don't worry about using up your early game levels either, because the first 10 to 20 levels are so easy to get experience wise that it really doesn't matter. Ooh, feather falling 1, sure, I'm pretty clumsy, so that might come in useful. The center of our zoo is going to go right here, pretty much where the sheep is. I've got the center marked out with a dirt pillar. What I'm going to do first is gather a bunch of dirt and just make a big flat platform here, just so that we have a nice area to work on. We can deal with the small details later. We're going to first build ourselves a house so that we can store all of our items and then work on the zoo afterwards. We should have enough dirt now, so I'm going to get it all placed down. Our dirt platform's been placed, so let's start working on the outline of this build now. It's been a little while, here's what I've made for the outline. I'll give you guys this perspective too so you can see it more clearly. These aren't the actual blocks we'll be using for this build for obvious reasons. This jungle wood is just to represent the outside, and then the stone blocks are where the inner parts will be. It's just easier for my brain if I can visually represent which parts are going to be set back in the wall, rather than it all being made out of one block and then it all just sort of blends into one. I didn't really center it very well considering this is the center dirt pillar, but it's fine, we can make use of this space here. I'm thinking this bottom layer will have a stone interior bit, but it will be framed by logs. And then the top floor is going to continue with that log framing, and then it's going to use sandstone. I think that might look really cool. We already know where to find all the sandstone we could ever possibly need, but I also want to use spruce wood for this build, and that's a different story. However, if we craft up a compass, then combine it with 4 logs as well as 4 saplings like so. Hold on, I gotta swap the order of jungle saplings and logs, just like this, and there we go. I always get that wrong. We can make the nature's compass. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or other people who make 100 days content, you know what this thing does. We just type in the name of a biome and we can find it immediately. Also, along the way, there may be some necessary animal rehabilitation, shall we say, because we're getting pretty hungry and we don't have that much food. Here we are, case in point. It's all for the greater good, alright? The conservation of animals. Just first we got to do some unconservating of animals by eating them. There is also a village nearby, so we might stop off there and just grab all their hay bales too. Okay, now we can go ahead and collect spruce wood to our heart's content. This tree chopping mod is so simple, but it's one of my favorites of all time already. I think this is the part where I'm supposed to throw in the deforestation joke I've been using since 2021, I want to say. Although I will say, we're definitely leaving an impact on this place, that's for sure. I bet this won't be enough, but I'll just roll with it anyway and complain when it all inevitably runs out. I know I complain a lot, but I mean, I'm British. That's like a core part of our culture. It's our favorite thing to do. Also, that's a bear with a cub, so I'm going to run the opposite direction. That might be the first theft-proof villager house. I am not walking all the way up there. Is this not the wrong biome for tigers? Whatever. I mean, I'm glad that they exist here and we'll be able to bring them back to our base. These guys do actually have hay, thank goodness. Some farms surrounding our base might not be a bad idea. I just don't want the area to be too taken up by a normal-looking Minecraft base. I want plenty of space for the animal enclosures. I could just about see a rhino over there. That's a lovely find. Oh, there's even kangaroos here. Perfect. I don't want to fight you, so just hop along, mate. If I had 200 days on this world, a bridge connecting these two areas would be so nice. We've made it back to base. I should really move our crafting table and chest a little bit closer to where our house is going to be. We must now go on a different quest, which is to collect a bunch of sandstone. Oh, and I forgot, we're going to need a bunch of stone as well. More evidence that this is the God Seed. There's a village just randomly over there. I really hope this sandstone idea works out, otherwise I'm going to have mined all of this for nothing. I've just realized I've been doing one of the things that everyone loves to do at the beach, which is just dig a gigantic hole for no reason. This should be enough sandstone for now. If we like the design, then of course we'll come back and mine more. While we're here, we better collect sand as well for windows. Although, talking of being at the beach, here we go. We're going to get personal here. Little Mozi story time. It's been a very long time since I've done one of these. Me and my dad would always try and build a little sea wall out of sand and rocks and whatever else we could find, and then see if it would stand up to the waves. Well, that's not the story. The story is that one time I was on holiday when I was about 10, I think, and we built a seawall, as we do. And then we came back to the beach later on in the day, and I had to watch as this child stamp and jump on my seawall that I had spent hours constructing. But yeah, I was expecting it to get kicked over and destroyed or whatever, but I wasn't expecting to have to watch as we walked past for a little evening walk thing. He was gleefully stomping into the ground. It still makes me seize to this day. Wherever that guy is now, hello crocodile, no thank you. Wherever that man is now, because he's going to be a grown man, just like myself, I hope that he just like has a random chill go down his spine. That's me. That's the rage that I still feel. I want to use a mix of stone and cobblestone for the bottom layer of our house, and while that sounds really tedious because of the size of the build, I have a little workaround. It's just called adding in a new recipe to the stone cutter that lets you convert cobblestone directly into stone. We do still need to mine all of the stone for this bit, which is the not so fun part. Some andesite for texturing wouldn't be too bad either. We've got all the materials now, so let's start working on this thing. I gotta remember to build everything one block floating off the floor, because there's gonna be a giant stone pavilion where this mansion will rest on. This should be the right kind of size. We'll go ahead and strip all these logs. We'll start at the bottom with cobblestone, and then we're going to gradually transition into andesite, and then at the end we'll use our smoothest block, which is stone. And you can see it creates a really nice gradient where we go from rough to sort of rough to nice and smooth. We'll add in stairs and trapdoors to create a nice archway. At the top of each window we use a polished andesite stair for extra detail. All of our glass is ready, so we'll first craft it up into connecting glass, and then we'll craft that into connecting glass panes. As you can imagine, it's exactly what you think it is. It's just glass that connects. This is a very tiny tiny section of our build, but I'm liking how it's turning out. We'll also add in barrels underneath these log beams to make them a bit more visually interesting. And we can even use ladders like so, just to extend the details even further. Next up, we'll work on the entrance. I should probably go get a water bucket so I don't have to keep breaking my legs every time I jump down. I really like this big imposing feel we've got going on. This is what I've come up with for the entrance, and I'm quite happy with it. However, I'm noticing a different issue, which is that the floor is all stone and the walls are stone, so it kind of looks like they just blend into one. It looks a bit weird. I'm thinking we pivot away from the stone and instead go with some oak. I like that a whole lot more. It also means that we can get rid of some of these spruce planks and make this a bit more interesting. As for the door, what we can do is place down a whole bunch of trapdoors like this, and then we flip them all up, and it gives us this really nice look because the trapdoors have the same texture as the door, so it looks like one giant door. I'm liking how this is turning out, although we'll definitely be using lots of leaves and vines to break up the monotony of all these brown textures. We have plenty of spare stone and andesite now, so I'm going to go around and outline the whole thing, just to make my life a little bit easier. I've gone ahead and filled out some more of the wall, and this place is starting to turn out really nice. Of course, it looks a bit like a cardboard cutout right now, but soon we'll be filling out the whole area. I'd also want to add in those leaves I was talking about as well. Yeah, they definitely help make it feel more alive. Once we've got a design for these end pieces here, we'll have everything that we need to finish this bottom floor. Oh, also that reminds me, I extended the entrance up by one block to make it feel a bit more imposing. We're going to do the same thing for these outer areas here. These windows on the end are going to be huge, so we're going to need to frame them properly. This may very well take a few tries to get right. Okay, well, never mind. Problem solved already. I just went with trapdoors, then some stairs, and then some trapdoors on top. I thought we were going to have a bunch of problems because we've got trapdoors and stairs here already, but we were able to fit this in seamlessly. We just throw in the window using some glass blocks like so, and that's turned out really nice. With that done, we've got everything we need. We can start building right away, is what I would say if we had all the blocks as well. I'm going to collect plenty of blocks, and then I'll time-lapse this whole thing for you guys. The first part of our base is now completely finished, although I'm starting to realize I may have bitten off slightly more than I can chew with this, because I don't want to leave this as just a big, bland, empty box. We are going to do the interior for this, and that means having to fill this entire space with something interesting. I'm thinking we can have all of our chests and main survival stuff on the second floor, and then over here we can have a little museum dedicated to some of the exhibits, and then over here could be the gift shop. Everyone loves a gift shop, right? And because every survival base needs villagers in prison for the rest of their lives, I'm thinking we could use some as staff for our gift shop. That way we can have both form and function, so the villagers are useful for a survival purpose and for a decorative purpose. Also, I have set up a little tree farm over here so that we can have a steady supply of spruce wood. These two trees here should be enough to last us for a while. Alrighty, let's start working on this second floor. I'm using these stairs here to create a nice visual separation between the bottom floor and the second one. In addition to using sandstone for the walls, I've also added a stonecutter recipe for smooth sandstone. The design that I've done for the windows here is the same as the ones down here, except we've got sandstone and I haven't put in the leaves, although I did at first. I just didn't like them. This front section where the door is going to be a bit more tricky because I don't really know how this big section is going to look. We'll have this log down the middle, otherwise this will just be one massive window and I think it will look pretty weird. We're going to have the opportunity here to create some really beautiful giant arch windows. Overall, I'm really happy with this. We're using the same design for the window outlines that we used down here, just a little bit more squished out. The window design for the side section has been finished now. Once again, it's really not that complicated. In fact, if we zoom out from a distance, yes, the whole build does look complex, but if we zoom in, you can see it's actually made up of quite a lot of repeating sections, just altered slightly. I know that a lot of people claim that they're bad at building, but most people really aren't. It just takes a bit of practice to get good at the fundamentals, and then you can scale it up pretty quickly. I think there's going to have to be a bit of a cow massacre. We are running really low on food. Although now that I think about it, we could take a quick trip to the nether and see if we get lucky spawning near a soul sand valley, because then there'll be a bunch of bone blocks that we could use for bone meal. We are only wearing iron armor, so if the situation looks sketchy, we're going to have to get out of here as quickly as possible. We're next to a warped forest, which isn't horrible, and checking the map, there is a soul sand valley. It's just a little bit of a trek. We're right underneath a giant pool of lava, which really doesn't help. Time is of the essence here. We only have 4 pieces of bread to keep us going. There we go. There's the first bit of soul soil poking out. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's a lovely find. This world is just becoming plot armor at this point. The fortress tunnels are just about visible on the map, so I expect we would have spotted this sooner or later. We've finally made it, and we've already found exactly what we're looking for. We'll take this fossil here as well, and then we should have enough bone meal to last us. Also, you can just about make out on the ceiling up there some random creatures that are wandering around. They're called drop bears, and as you can imagine, they do just attempt to drop on your head and kill you. I want to give them an exhibit in our zoo because I want to have some more exotic animals in there. We're going to be surviving on a diet of exclusively baked potatoes. This feels like a good point in the video to say that if you're enjoying it so far, consider subscribing to the channel. That's the entire pitch. On a serious note, it really does help me out, and I really appreciate everyone who subscribed. Also, if you think you're already subscribed, double check, because there's a weird glitch on YouTube where you'll just get unsubscribed, so it might have happened to you. I'm using all these jungle logs for charcoal so we can have a renewable fuel source. Storage-wise, things are definitely getting a little bit out of hand and messy. We've got a steady supply of food now, so all that's left is to collect a bunch more materials and finish the second floor of our mansion. The second floor's done, so now let's move on to the roof. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I want to make it all out of deep slate, which is going to require a ridiculous amount of blocks. Another mining trip wouldn't be horrible, because we do need some extra diamonds. Our diamond pickaxe is already at half durability. I can see on the map there's an abandoned mine shaft to our right, as well as a lush cave biome, so it's worth heading over there. We'll also need to grab some extra iron too, because I've had to downgrade to a stone axe since we don't have any. And the glow lichens fooled me again. It just looks so much like diamonds from a distance. There's a lovely big iron vein for us right here. We're now going to start the rather long process of digging a tunnel all the way to that abandoned mine shaft. It's not too big of a deal though, because it's getting us a bunch of deep slate as we do it. And you never know, we might even come across some diamonds while we're doing this, although I feel like I used up all of my luck at the start of this video. We found some more iron at least, that's not bad. We're almost there to the lush caves now. We've made it, it's a miracle. I tell you what, these drip leaves here, these would look amazing in certain enclosures. We'll definitely have to use those. We could even have ourselves a little axolotl exhibit, that'd be really cute. Although anyone who's tried keeping axolotls as pets in Minecraft knows that you can't give them a single block that's outside of water, or they will just jump onto it and try and delete themselves. At the time of recording this, the sulfur caves update has just been revealed. What do you guys think about it? Overall, with the sulfur caves, I like the idea of what they were going with, but the implementation just feels a bit shallow. It doesn't really connect to any of the other mechanics in the game. Oh, there's another new creature. This is called the Flutter, and it does exactly what it says it does. These little guys are really cute. So I want to do some cool little facts about each of the creatures that we put in our zoo, although since a lot of them are going to be modded, we're going to have to get a bit creative. The mine shaft should be down this way somewhere. Hey, there we go. We found it. It is currently on fire, so that's not a great start, but apart from that, lovely place. We also have our first minecart chest with a diamond. Lovely. And we have a golden apple as well. I knew coming here was a good idea. Should our current pickaxe break, which is looking very, very likely, we'll have enough diamonds to make a brand new one. Also, we have another minecart chest with our first name tag. We do need these. We found even more diamonds right here as well, and another name tag in this chest. There is a crafting recipe for them in this mod pack. If I just do that. I mean, it's not too expensive, just 2 pieces of leather, a piece of string, and an iron ingot, but it's nice to stockpile these. We've got another chest with yet another one. This place is honestly pretty insane. It feels like it just keeps on going and going. Well, I've had my fun exploring, and I've got what I was looking for, so now it's time to begin the deep slate grind. I'm gonna pray that this is enough deep slate, because I just do not want to mine anymore. There's also an enderman in here who's been defeated by a simple cobweb, so we'll dispose of him, but unfortunately he's not going to give us a pearl. As a final gift, there's actually even more diamonds we can get before we leave this place. This mod pack is incredibly simple, but if you guys enjoy this video and end up wanting to try it out for yourself, I'll look into uploading it on CurseForge so you can all give it a try. I wasn't really paying attention to how much iron we actually had. We've got over a stack. For the roof design, we're going to go with a gradient, starting with deep slate tiles, transitioning into deep slate bricks, and finally ending off with cobbled deep slate. As you can see, we go from our darkest block to our lightest pretty smoothly. Once again, I don't know why I placed everything so far away. This tree farm could have been so much closer. It's officially time to start working on the roof. We'll start with these really big areas because they're definitely going to be the most challenging. It would make sense if these areas connected with spruce logs. Then we'll run some spruce slabs along that. As we bring the design of the roof up here using deep slate, we'll slowly transition into our different blocks. I don't hate this curve that we've got here, but I don't necessarily love it either. I'll try a few different designs and see if I can come up with something I'm happy with. I've shifted the roof by 1 block and it looks a lot nicer now. I can't really put my finger on why I prefer this so much, but I'm a lot happy with this. We'll of course make sure to fill all this in with sandstone as well. The last thing that I want to do here is add some extra details with some trapdoors. Although now that I think about it, I do also want to add some windows up here as well. It's quite hard to decorate windows when they're this close together, but what we can do is place down a spruce fence gate like so, and then we go ahead and put a campfire on top of it and put it out with our shovel. I don't actually know what it's supposed to represent, but I saw this technique years ago and I just do it whenever I don't know how to decorate a window. Also, once we can afford them, I definitely like to place a bunch of lanterns on this place to make it look more warm and inviting. Although now that I'm looking at it, I don't think this really suits this particular build. Instead, we can just go with some spruce trapdoors. Maybe it's that the scale looks off? I don't know, I'm just not happy with this bit. See, that doesn't really work either because then part of the deep slate for the roof gets in with the window and it looks weird. Honestly, I just prefer it without windows. This is the best I could come up with. The vision's definitely starting to come to life now. I'm really happy with this. Right, let's go ahead and get these parts of the roof connected up. The good news is that the first part of the roof is done and it's looking really good. The bad news is that took up way more deep slate than I thought it would. I've enchanted us a new diamond pickaxe. It's time to return to the mines and collect even more deep slate. I'm doing this at Y-50 just on the off chance that we might run into some extra extra diamonds. This is how much I've mined out so far, and it's given us a full inventory. Was it fun digging this entire thing out with an efficiency 1 diamond pickaxe? No. How did I never notice those diamonds over there? What is wrong with me? On today's episode of Will It Be a One Vein? The answer is no. It's time to nail down the design for these smaller roof segments. Once again, we'll come in with our deep slate tiles. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the design at the moment, but I know that I'll get there. To be honest, just remembering to do the gradient is actually the tricky part. It's taken a while, but I've got something that I'm happy with now. For the front section here, we're going to have the sandstone set back by 1 block so that we can add some interesting depth. We've got the roof design completely sorted now, which means it's time for another time lapse. The outside of the base is now done, but the interior still needs a lot of work, and that's putting it lightly. I'm really happy with this place overall. I really want to just get on with building the zoo, and for that, we're going to need some much better tools. So I'm thinking we go on just a minor little side quest to kill the Ender Dragon and get all the good loot from the end cities. I wouldn't usually attempt this so early on in a video, but since we've spawned directly next to a warped forest, and there's another fortress not too far away, it seems like a no-brainer. This is more like it. This area is way bigger. Here's the little patch of warped forest that we had. You can see where our tunnel is for our portal here. I just dug through to this area, which is much bigger, and I found another nether fortress. Oh my god! Oh! Okay, well, we're fine. No need to panic. Not dying within the first 10 minutes of this quest would be rather nice. I can hear an enderman, I just don't know where he is. Oh, here we go, well that answers that question. He's just teleported away, and that's really not helping. There we go, we found his brother. This is going to be my life for the next who knows how long. Our sword was sacrificed in the process, but we now have 15 ender pearls. We've still got our axe, so I don't mind charging into the fortress to take on the blazes. I do need to actually track down a blaze spawner in this place, wherever it may be. I love tricking the skeletons into shooting the wither skeletons, because they always get absolutely mauled. There's our first blaze rod. We're getting a little bit low here, so I'm going to be careful. Also, there's a wither skeleton just trapped in this tiny little bit here. This is his entire life, just living in this ditch. Well, let's seal you away for eternity, my friend. A quintuple blaze spawn might be a little bit of a problem. No, 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 no! This is fine. We're just going to take a breather. We're going to hang back and heal up. We're over halfway there to getting all the rods we need. I don't know why you guys have decided to spawn in the corridor, but this might be it now. As long as this guy, he didn't drop a rod. Never mind. We just need one more. Surely one of you 4 can drop the rod, right? Not a single drop from all 4 of them. Are you kidding me? Alright, an axe is almost broken too, so we really need to get a drop soon. Yes, there we go. I had to kill that last guy with my pickaxe. I feel like that's one of the more painful ways to go out as a Minecraft mob. A sword or an axe is pretty quick, but a pickaxe to the dome, that has got to hurt. And it's also just a bit insulting, really. Now that we're back home, let's treat ourselves to a shiny new diamond sword. And we'll also replace our axe. Next, we got to collect some flint for a fletching table. There we go. Also, I think some kind of squid massacre happened here. Oh, it's because there's sharks in the river that are hunting the squid. Don't ask me why there's sharks spawning in a river next to a jungle. That's neither here nor there. Looks like someone didn't set up the config files properly. That person was me, because it's my mod pack. You there, sir. Abandon your heritage, abandon your life of being a farmer. You are now going to be a fletcher. He has exactly the 2 trades that I want. Sticks for emeralds and emeralds for arrows. All we got to do is trade with him until we've got enough arrows to successfully kill the Ender Dragon. It shouldn't be too difficult given the fact there's these massive jungle trees everywhere. Taking on the dragon in protection 1 iron armor is pretty risky, but I'm feeling confident. Oh, actually, while I'm collecting wood, I want to talk to you guys about the strangest fake sponsorship email I've ever gotten. YouTubers get these all the time in their business email where it's someone impersonating a brand and trying to get us to hand over personal info or whatever, but sometimes they're just absolutely bizarre, and that's what happened lately. I mean, just look at this. Mozi, the Raycon partnership just became your companion, but only speaks in riddles. Like, why am I dealing with a whimsical wizard just for a fake Raycon partnership? This makes no sense. Am I gonna have to solve some kind of puzzle to get a fake pair of earbuds? Is that how that's gonna work? Alright, perfect. We've got almost 4 stacks of arrows, and we can buy a bow off of him as well. I'm actually going to wait till night falls and then harass this man in his own private domicile, because I do not want zombies just spawning in and killing all the villagers here. People put these videos on to sleep, so I reckon by about this point in the video, at least 50% of you are now snoring away and are in the, just a completely different dimension. And for the 50% of you that aren't asleep, what are you doing? Fix your sleep schedule. In fact, I know you're trying to fix your sleep schedule by watching this video. Oh, I remember you. Well, let's imprison him in his house as well. See, this is why villagers make me mad. This guy's left the door open in the middle of the night, even in the safest neighborhood. Who would do that? We've got 3 villagers perfectly preserved. That should be enough to withstand any kind of zombie invasion. Let's craft up all the Eyes of Ender that we'll need. And we may as well grab some low-level enchantments on both our bow and our sword. Oh, great and wise Eye of Ender, which way shall we go? Okay, let's just the direction I'm looking in. Sure. It would be nice if we could find some new animals on this trip to give us ideas for what to put in our zoo. We've traveled a couple hundred blocks, so let's throw our eye again. And it's still going this way, okay. We're gonna have to sail out on the open ocean, and oh, there's a dog hook biome up ahead, that's perfect. Whoever made this stuff at Mojang all those years ago, they were absolutely cooking. So is this your house? It's a little bit run down. You consider renovating it? I don't think you like that suggestion very much. He possesses 1 emerald, lovely, plus the flesh of probably his best friend Dave, and we also have a mending fishing rod. Sure. I didn't bring along a new axe because I didn't think we'd need it. I'm just going to use a wooden one to chop down a few trees because I want to make sure that we leave with enough saplings to grow our own trees. There we go, we've already got 6. Is the stronghold still this way? No, okay, it goes off this way now. I'll also make sure to loot this ruined portal right here. Can't really go wrong with a few pieces of free obsidian. In classic me fashion, I put on some food to cook before we left since our supplies are running low, and then I just forgot to pick it up. We should have just about enough, but I want to be careful. Hey, never mind, there's some sweetberry bushes in here. New animal alert, we found some seals. We are so coming back here to grab these guys for a seal enclosure. Look at this one, he's even lying on his back, so he's exposed his belly. Oh, and I've gone too far. The stronghold's back this way. Here's what the ruined portal is, so it's got to be somewhere around this area, I'd imagine. Does anyone else use sweetberry bushes as decoration and then get jump scared every time they accidentally step into one? I've narrowed down the general area of the stronghold. It should just be around here. We've entered into a cave of sorts, but if I check the map, this right here definitely looks like a stronghold structure. And actually, yeah, because that's the library. Hey, we've made it. Oh no, this is one of those strongholds that's generated really weirdly with a bunch of holes in the floor. No, go away, creeper. You will not ruin this for me. We're going to pay the library a visit because now we can easily get ourselves a maxed enchanting setup. Protection 3, efficiency 3 is pretty good. I just don't really think we have the inventory space for it, considering we'll be going to the end city soon. And the other chest doesn't actually even have an enchanted book. Thanks to the map, we can just see that the end portal room is right next to us. Oh no, please don't let the portal be broken by a geode. No. Okay, no, I think we're okay. We're okay. This actually looks really cool. Can you imagine how frustrating it would have been though if the geode had blocked the portal? Let's get all the eyes placed in. And without further ado, we've got a dragon to slay. Alright, an acceptable spawn. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We've got a very easy crystal snipe right here, which I have missed. Okay, there we go. Now it's gone. There's another crystal we should be able to take out if I could aim properly. And we can grab this one here, like so. It should be a pretty simple process now of just heading up to the tallest tower and sniping out all the crystals. We'll just very carefully snipe this crystal out. And then we can just take care of all of these. And now all that's left are the ones in cages. Okay, here's the next crystal. And now we just have one more. I am pretty nervous about any kind of contact with the Ender Dragon because her armor just will not hold up. And of course, she does also like to fling people up into the air whenever she feels like it, so that's another problem. From here though, with all the crystals taken out, we should be home safe. Me and this Enderman are in this together. No, she killed him. We're slowly whittling her down here. This reminds me of, I'm not sure which mod pack it was that I played. It was either Beyond Depth or the Ancient Dawn. One of those two had a dragon fight where it had 1000 HP, regenerated every single second, and summoned lightning every 5 seconds. We just gotta keep smacking her on the tail. This might, oh my god! I was about to say this might be the last time that she purchased, but it was nearly the last time we ever did anything in this world. We nearly just lost it all. That line about me being worried about contact damage might have been the greatest foreshadowing of all time. I don't think I've ever seen this many Endermen just trying to attack her at once. They're all just joining in with me. Surely this is the last time. She's got 4 health left. No! Just die already, come on. There we go. That was a lovely little fireworks show. Okay, well, let's not talk about the level that we got to, but overall, good fight. Let's use some slabs to cover up the portal here, and then we can safely grab the dragon egg. Let's make some little graves next to the portal to honor the Endermen that fought with us. Rest in peace. See, sometimes when I play Minecraft, I can have a heart. Every now and again. Into the gateway we go. And now begins our search for an end city. We could either get really lucky and find a massive one that has a ship and a bunch of chests, or we could get really unlucky and find one of those pathetic little huts that doesn't even have a single piece of loot. It depends on how the Minecraft gods are feeling, I suppose. I am going to collect up some ender pearls because I do not want to be bridging for hours on end. Also, that's a new creature. That's an Enderiophage. I just know the name because it shows up in a lot of mod packs that I've played. They are pretty cool, but they can also fly, so we need to build a roofed enclosure for that thing. Oh, look, there it goes. It's off flying right now. I do not just want to be tending to the tigers or something and just see a turbocharged end bug flying across the sky. We've got 4 pearls now, which should last us a while. Oh my god. What I think as soon as I let go of crouch, we just instantly die here. So I'm so glad that we have a crafting table. I cannot believe that's how I almost went out. Not by the ender dragon, but by almost just missing the pearl throw and then landing right on the pixel edge of a block. These end creatures are really cool as well, but they can phase through blocks, which means we'll never be able to keep them in an enclosure. I really wish we could though, because they're so pretty. I can afford to turn my render distance up to max in the end, just because of how barren it all is, so it doesn't lag out my computer. With that being said though, there's still no city in sight. Oh, hold on, never mind, I lied. Oh yes, it's gonna have a ship for us. That is absolutely perfect. Look at the size of this place, it's beautiful. I just tried to turn on the render distance again and then almost accidentally turned down my FOV instead, if that's an indication of how many brain cells I have. Although it's not nearly as bad as the time that I'd been grinding out the original 100 Days series, for those of you that have watched that. And then I've been spending so much time on it that when I went out with my family and there was something out in the distance, I tried to zoom in on it using the Optifine zoom in my brain. For a few seconds in my mind, I was thinking, why isn't this working? Why can't I zoom in? And then the clarity hit and I felt probably the most embarrassed I've ever felt in my entire life. Okay, shulkers, let's calm down a bit with hitting me, please. Oh my god. We're fine. This is fine. Have it all under control. Let's clear out the guys at the top of this tower here. Come on, chest. I'm going to really need... There we go. Some diamond armor. We got a Prot 4 Respiration 3 helmet in this one. It also wouldn't hurt to get a few shulker boxes as well, because those will really help when we're moving around our zoo constructing stuff. First, though, we'll head on over to the ship. I'm going to try and land that pearl. I think that's fine. Yep. We then dispose of this guy. And we're rewarded with an iron shovel and some iron horse armor, as well as a pretty nice diamond sword. And of course, we can't forget about the elytra. We should just be able to glide over to the other towers with ease and collect the remaining loot. We've got diamond boots in this chest here, so all we need now to complete the set is a chest plate. We've got a sharpness 4 sword as well, plus an absolutely godly shovel, unbreaking 3, fortune 3, efficiency 4. Let's see what the other tower holds for us. An efficiency 5 diamond shovel, yes please, and some pretty okay diamond armor. We can now afford to make ourselves a shulker box, which means we've got a whole load of extra space to work with. We've got enough shulker shells for 2 more boxes, so I'm willing to call it there. We'll go ahead and make our way back home. Even though we only just got it, I keep checking the elytra's durability to make sure it's not going to break while we're above the endless void. We've already had plenty of near-death experiences. Let's not get the premium upgrade to a death experience. This is it. Home we go. Our spawns actually be reset because we took our bed with us, but thankfully with our Frostwalker boots, we can just walk straight across this lake back to our base. I'm enjoying the novelty of this, but I will be grindstoning these boots because Frostwalker is just all around very irritating. For example, if we try falling from a great height into water, I'm pretty sure we just instantly die because our boots freeze it before we land in it. I'm actually going to test that right now. Let's see. Oh, okay, never mind. It doesn't kill us. Either way, though, I'm still going to be removing the enchantment. Here's all the potatoes that I accidentally left behind. Now that we're back, it's definitely time to tackle at least some of the interior of this place so that we can get set up with a proper storage system. And yes, this will require a ridiculous amount of spruce wood, because when has anything I've ever built not required a ridiculous amount of spruce wood? It's pretty daunting, because I mean, where do we even start here? One thing that we will do is we'll have the floors be 2 blocks thick, because I do want each floor to have a nice high ceiling, but I think this would be just too high. So many spruce trees have died for this house to become a reality. Oh, wonderful. We're already getting some visitors to the zoo. Well, it's not built yet, so calm down a bit, mate. He was so excited, he trespassed onto our land and then broke into our house. I'm really happy we've lowered the ceiling, because already this feels a lot more easy to tackle than what it looked like before. I don't feel dread in my stomach when looking at it. Compared to that end there, it just seems so much bigger and harder to decorate. Oh, he brought his kid along, but I guess he was like hiding up in the attic or something. For the second layer of spruce, there's no point wasting blocks on it. We'll just use slabs. Oh, that's another thing actually. Before I build too much of the ceiling, I need to get the staircase set up. And now we've got a building surveyor showing up who's telling me that the entire thing's been built out of illegally harvested timber. Just go away! Why is everyone getting in the way? That's 3 people so far that are gonna have to be buried under this zoo. The authorities must never find them. What's that smell? Oh, that must just be the gorilla exhibit. Yeah. Before we make this thing look nice and fancy, I want to get the general structure down. I'm also gonna have to remove this window at the back here because this will look really weird. It's taken me a few tries to get it right, but now I've got a shape that I'm happy with. We'll be using spruce logs for the banister, and we could place some slabs underneath the logs for extra detail. I also want to add some fences to these logs because otherwise there wouldn't actually be a proper barrier here, and then some 5-year-old is definitely falling off of this and then getting the entire park sued. I want to use a certain type of modded fence, so first we're gonna have to craft up some redstone blocks, and we're also gonna need to make a blast furnace, which we'll then combine with the redstone block to make ourselves a light electricity generator. Then we combine a stone cutter with a redstone block, some iron, some slabs, and some blocks like so, and that gets us a workbench. Also, don't worry, these are the only 2 things in this entire pack that require any kind of electricity in quotation marks. We just have to put them next to each other, I think. Apparently we're going going to need fuel in order to craft stuff. Sure. We're also going to need to craft up a wrench so that we can connect everything together. And okay, there we go. We should just be able to throw some coal in here. That works. It's well worth it because now we can craft all of this stuff. We can make a fridge. We can make chairs, tables, sinks, workbenches. There's so much here. Let's now craft ourselves some oak lattice fences. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I really like those because we get this nice little bit here, which is the actual lattice part of the fence. Oh. Hello. You do realize that's not the door, by the way. He's selling cornflowers, hair of bear. Let's not talk about that. Beetroot seeds, pumpkin seeds, melon seeds, and a bucket of pufferfish. Why have we got even more visitors? The building inspectors are back with full force. The llamas would be pretty nice for an exhibit, but they'll despawn just like the trader, so we're just gonna do this. Oh, that's crazy, guys. Where did the wandering trader and his llamas go? Up here for the guardrail, we're gonna do strip spruce logs with trapdoors on top, and then we'll use the oak lattice fences. We just gotta bring that all the way around like so. Then slowly but surely, this place is starting to take shape. There's still a few minor things that I have to fix, like these planks don't come up as far as they should. And I completely forgot we better make sure we add the appropriate details to the back of our stairs too. I'm going to work on getting the structuring for this side finished, as well as cleaning up all this horrible netherrack that's been left behind. I'm still using this temporary dirt staircase for some reason. I literally built all of this and I'm still using this. I've made sure to light up this little area here because we don't want spiders and baby zombies spawning in below our feet. I will also have to put a ceiling on all this as well. We can finally get our bed moved inside at least. We've got this is the exterior, and then if you just come inside, this is the entire interior. No adjustments needed, I think. One thing that the staircase has resulted in is this weird little lip here, which I don't like. I think we're gonna have to fill it with a bunch of plants or paintings or just something to get rid of this space. I would do this as a time-lapse for you guys, but making an indoor time-lapse is a lot more difficult because the camera really easily clips through the wall. That's this side done now, so all that's really left is the ceiling. This should be a fairly simple undertaking given that all we're doing is placing more spruce planks. We'll also make sure to clean up any rough edges with some stairs. I'm thinking we could create a nice visual separation between these areas by adding in an extra wall. We'll add stairs here to actually get inside, as well as some more stairs and trapdoors. Although this feels a little bit squished, so I'm going to raise it up by one. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. And I guess some barrels as well, just for some final extra detail. With that little side quest done, it's back to my life of placing spruce planks. Although having said that, we have to deal with this rather awkward nook here, which I'm trying to deal with by making an archway. We're getting there slowly but surely. Alright, that's all done now. Already the area feels so much more inviting. The only room that I'm going to furnish for now is this one, because this will be our storage room. This area should provide us with more storage than we could ever possibly need. We're going to use some spruce trapdoors on the side for a nice bit of decoration, and we'll run them along the ceiling too. Yeah, that looks nice. I'm happy with that. I do want to get enough leather eventually that we can add item frames to every single one of these, but that's a long-term goal. Also, what are you doing? I guess I've got a co-host now. We've got Mozi and Ender Rosie. That's going to be your name. Did you leave this here for me? That's so kind of you. Thank you. This guy's so lucky we don't need ender pearls anymore, or I would have slimed him frame one. I'm going to slowly but surely go through the process of transferring all of our items inside. Oh no, I've managed to make him mad. Sorry everyone, looks like we're going to have to kill the co-host. I mean, I feel like that was his fault. He was just standing here staring at me while I organized items. Everything we own, including the stuff that was back over that sort of direction, has now been organized into all of these chests. Which then begs the question of how are we actually going to decorate this area? And we also have all of these blocks here that we've got to organize. Before we actually go out, I'm going to collect some more potatoes first. I definitely want to add some kind of carpet, so I'm on the prowl for sheep. And perfect, there's a few market stalls in the village that we can steal the wool from. We'll also collect some leaves while we're out here as well. There's even a few sheep here that we can shear as well. There's also carpet that we can steal in the cartographer's house. And while I remember, we'll pinch the brewing stand from the church. We'll lay down a nice rug and we'll alternate between wool and carpet to give it a nice bit of depth. Okay, nice, I'm happy with that. Honestly, I think the best way for us to deal with furnaces is to set them into the floor here. It doesn't look terrible, and it means that we can have a bunch of furnaces without building a huge wall of them over here. We'll also move our crafting table and stone cutter. And I actually need to make a quick trip to the lush cave so that we can grab a moss block to use as a base for a potted plant. And now that we've arrived, we can just go to town on all of this. We'll also need to grab some dead bushes from the beach. What we can do now is have a moss block, then a trap door, then we can put a plant pot on top, and then we could go with a dead bush and then 2 leaves. So the dead bush kind of acts as the little branches for this bush here. We either do dead bush or we do a cactus. I like the dead bush more. I'll go ahead and copy that on this side as well. And that actually gives us a perfect spot to put our electricity generator and our workbench. This might require a trip back to the stronghold in order to get more books, but 2 giant bookcases on either side of the room would be really cool. Although this definitely definitely feels like a bit much, so I'm going to tone it down. What if we just did some little rows of bookshelves and then we'd have paintings on either side? There we go, that's looking really nice now. I love this painting that's added by Alex's mobs. See, back in like, what was it, 2021 when that whole craze was going on, this thing would be worth about 10 trillion Bitcoin. We could try crafting ourselves some oak storage cabinets and see how those look. Yeah, I quite like that. It fits the theme given that this is the storage room after all. We could also make some tables as well. We can have plant pots on those with a dandelion inside. I guess we can then do some more paintings back here as well. I'll also replicate the cabinet design on this side. I'll also place our smoker in this corner. And then finally, we'll place down one more painting. And as for the lighting in here, we can finally afford to make a decent amount of lanterns. These are going to make this place look so much nicer and more inviting rather than just having torches everywhere. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the storage room is done. We may as well also do the bedroom on the far side so that we can get a proper enchanting area set up. I'm thinking a nice triple red bed right here will be good, and we've also got the wall behind to act as an extra cushion. We can then upgrade it further with some trapdoors at the end. We'll also add in some bedside tables, and then we can use the same plant design that we used in the other room. That's looking nice, I'm happy with that. We could also add in a shelf up here, and we'll place a brewing stand on top. I've added in our enchanting setup, which means we can now get ourselves level 30 enchantments. We can then add some storage cabinets on top, which is where we can store our lapis. And we'd also need to add in a grindstone. This corner's looking a bit empty by comparison, so we're going to fill it up using an old classic. We're going to build a TV. We'll just use some black concrete like so, and that's pretty convincing. We'll then place down a comfy yellow sofa in front of it. Although that might be a little bit too close, so we'll move it back one block. Now, don't mind me, just catching up on some content made by an incredibly handsome, nonchalant Minecraft YouTuber. You should totally subscribe to him. We'll also add another yellow and white carpet. We're also going to fill up the space with even more potted plants. Although I think some different designs are in order because this is starting to get a little bit repetitive. We'll go with the cactus design on the floor and we'll make these shorter plants. It still just feels too samey. We could go with drawers on either side of the TV and then plant pots on top of those. And then inside the plant pots, we'll just go with little saplings. Or actually, we could just go with flowers instead. Overall, I'm a lot more happy with that. For these back walls, we're just going to add some more paintings. Then for this little bit of empty space that we've got here, we can just add a little reading nook with a desk and a chair. And then the final step is to add in some lanterns. I'm really happy with how both of these rooms have turned out. I didn't realize it earlier, but this little patch here is actually really easy to fix. We just need to pull this wall forward by one block. I really don't know how I didn't think of this earlier because it's such a simple fix. See, look at that. Problem immediately solved. I've also had the idea to extend this part of the stairs into columns so that we can add a nice little archway here. And there we go, that's all done. Now that we've got this all set up, let's see if we can snag Fortune 3 on a pickaxe. Yes, we can. With that out of the way, we're going to go on a quick caving trip just to grab some extra diamonds so that we've got enough for some new pickaxes and other tools. Lovely, we've already found some. It was just a one vein unfortunately, but our Fortune has given us 2. Frostwalker is really not the move because I've already managed to turn my water source into ice. There's even more over here, that's perfect. And now we're already up to 8. We'll also grab any spare lapis or iron that we see. I always forget how OP Fortune is with lapis. We've already got over 2 stacks. And we've got even more diamonds over here. We're on a roll now when it comes to finding diamonds. This is the last tunnel I'm going to check before heading back up. Surely this lava lake has some diamonds for us, and in fact I can see some already. Here we go, we'll grab our last diamonds. And unfortunately it's another one vein. I mean, I thought those were going to be the last diamonds, but I've just spotted some more. You're not getting a proper death, I'm just going to push you into the lava. Oh, this makes up for all the one veins that we've been getting. This is way bigger. And thanks to that vein, we're now up to 34 diamonds. And there's even more over there. This lava lake has certainly delivered. There's even more back here as well. 42 diamonds should be more than enough to last us right to the end of this 100 days. Get away from me, peasants, I'm rich now. This is like those memes where it's like top 5 things I'm going to do when I get rich. Letting the money change me, switching up on my day ones, forgetting where I came from. That's how I feel with all these diamonds. Now that we're back home, we can give our lapis cabinet a big boost. These enderman infiltrations are getting out of hand. At least we're going to get a free piece of grass out of this one. Anyway, now that we're back home, we can keep enchanting a new diamond pickaxe until we get silk touch. Hey, there it is. We may as well also enchant a new diamond axe and a diamond chestplate. Boom, prop 4, there we go. And now that we've finally got some good tools and a good supply of food, we can actually start work on building the zoo. You know, the main part of this video that we're only getting into like half an hour in. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted, like just a tiny bit. We're going to need a huge amount of dirt so that we can properly flatten the area, and this is a million times easier now that we have an efficiency 4 diamond shovel. We have absolutely decimated this area, which is why I don't want to collect dirt where it's visible in front of our zoo. As long as when people visit they stay within the confines of the zoo and don't take any kind of look around, we should be fine. Dear lord, this is going to be a lot of work. I think the most difficult part is going to be making sure that everything's lit up properly so that we don't have an impromptu mob farm. this is what the area is looking like now. In terms of how long all of this took to do, let's not talk about that. But now that we've prepared the terrain, we can actually get on with building these animal enclosures. First of all, let's craft ourselves a basic capture cell, and then we can upgrade that using our obsidian into a master capture cell. And actually, while we're here, we'll go ahead and craft a second one. The first exhibit that I want to make is for crocodiles. They've caught me off guard many times in this jungle area, so that's where I'm looking. And speak of the devil, we've actually found our first one who is very rapidly running towards us, so we'll capture him, and now he's contained inside. And now that we've caught our first animal for the zoo, it's time for our first animal facts. Crocodiles have been around for over 200 million years, and the saltwater crocodile can reach lengths of 20 feet. We should be able to find him a friend somewhere around here. Hey, perfect, there we go. I've gone ahead and made a dirt circle to mark out the area of the enclosure. I'm thinking for the walls we use spruce columns with slabs on top, and then we have glass in between so that people can look in and see the animals. We'll plan out where each of the spruce columns are going to go. We'll bring each of them up by 4 blocks. We also have to strip all of these columns too. And the final thing is that we'll need lots and lots of sand to make glass. We're using all of our furnaces to get this stuff smelted. We can just work on the interior of the exhibit while we wait. Crocodiles thrive in warm environments, so I'm thinking we go to a mangrove swamp and bring back some saplings from there. And to make our lives easier, we can also craft up some rockets. We could have used jungle trees, but I want to use those for a different exhibit. Oh look, and there's ostriches here. Oh, that's an emu. Never mind. You know, I could cut this from the video. In fact, I'm consciously debating that right now, but I'm going to leave it in because hopefully it gives you guys a good laugh. And perfect. We've already made it to the mangrove swamp. Let's chop down one of these trees. All we really needed were a few saplings. I'm thinking we build a little island in the middle, then all around will be water, and then we can have some little sandy shores on the sides. I want this to be stony and rocky, so we'll use some cobbled deep slate and mix in some tuff. Then we'll just mix in some mud along with some deep slate slabs for a bit of extra depth. And now that this is done, we're going to plant down our mangrove propagule and then bone meal it. And that has given us a pretty insane mangrove tree. It's incredibly tall and skinny, but you know what? I actually really like it. Because look at this, the roots form a really nice protective shelter that the crocodiles would probably use. We'll just go ahead and extend them a little bit so they actually go into where the water's going to be. We'll also add in some of the little sandy bits I was talking about. And finally, we'll need to dig out all of this dirt and replace it with mud. With all the mud placed in, we've now just got to go ahead and fill the whole area with water. I'll also collect up some sea pickles and coral fans just to make the area a bit more interesting. Let's go ahead and add all of our new stuff into the water. These sea pickles are going to give it a really nice glow at night. I know it's not super realistic for there to be coral here, but Minecraft doesn't really give you a lot of choices for decorating underwater. So we'll just make do with what we've got. As a final touch, we'll use some bone meal to add some seagrass. All that's left to do is to place the connecting glass into here. We've just got to bring the glass all the way around. The final step before we can add the crocodiles into the exhibit is to name them. One should be named Mr. Big, and the other shall be named Toothy. I mean, for now I'm coming up with unique and creative names for the animals. By the end, we might have some emus named Dave 1 and Dave 2. It's time for the scary part, which is releasing these guys in here and trying not to get chomped to death. Already we have a problem, which is this guy's out of name tag range. His attack hitbox also does not line up with the model at all, which means I'm getting hit while I'm atop 3 blocks at once. I think he's actually gotten bored of me. If he can get through a 1 block gap, this is going to be a huge mistake, but we might be able to break this glass and then name him through that. Please don't get through here. Please don't get through here. Please don't get through here. There we go. We named him. I did not realize being a zookeeper was going to be this stressful. Well, there we go. That's one successfully contained. And now it's time for the other. There we go. I've named him. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to say both Toothy and Mr. Big are in their new enclosure. Clearly, they love it, which is why they're both trying to jump out and kill me. The next exhibit I'd like to build is a bamboo forest for some pandas. And I'm thinking we could have a savanna elephant enclosure right here. That could look quite nice. I've planned ahead a bit, so we now have 3 outlines for 3 new exhibits. The coolest and most interesting animals can have the largest exhibits, and then ones that are a bit smaller and less interesting can have these small little pods. This area is going to be a savanna with elephants and maybe even some rhinos, so I'm going to get on with building the outside. Right, that's that done. With the surrounding area built, it's time to actually go out and find ourselves some elephants. There don't seem to be any in this patch of savanna here, so I'll go ahead and check over this way instead. After we've built a few more animal pens, I'm going to have to get a librarian villager so that we can get mending for our elytra. Trust me, I'm definitely not looking forward to it, although we finally found some elephants. We'll grab 1 and we'll grab 2. I wouldn't mind coming back with the final one. Did you know that elephant tusks never actually stop growing, and they also spend over 12 hours a day eating grass, plants, and fruit? We'll also grab some acacia saplings while we're here. Oh, and sugarcane too. Elephants love sugarcane. For the elephant exhibit, we'll do the inverse of what we did for the crocodiles, where we'll have a little bit of water in the middle. We'll make use of mud once again, since it would make sense for this pool to be all churned up and muddy, since the elephants are stomping around in it constantly. We'll add some mud around the edges of the pool as well, to make it look like it's sort of spilled out and it's getting all messy. We'll also go ahead and plant our sugarcane. Then the next part is adding some more dirt in here, just to make it a bit more visually interesting, so it's not all just flat. We'll also use slabs and stairs to add little rock formations to make it a lot more more interesting to look at. We'll also plant some acacia trees, and as a final step, we're going to shovel up all the grass in here so that we can get this nice yellow path, which represents the yellow savanna grass. We'll also go around here and add in a bunch of lanterns so that no hostile mobs will spawn. I've also realized I forgot to put any lights in the crocodile exhibit, but I'm going to be honest, they're going to be fine. They definitely don't need it. Oh, please don't kill me. Everything in this zoo is absolutely under control. Don't worry about it. We need 2 names for our 2 new elephants. I'm thinking first of all, we'll go with Elephantasia. It's like Anastasia, but elephant version. And the second one shall be named Teacup, not Taco Cup. That's not how you spell that. First, we have Teacup, and second, we have Elephantasia. Look at it. They love their new home. Elephantasia is clearly a little bit directionally challenged, but that's fine. The other thing is that elephants will sometimes pick leaves off trees and eat them, so they may end up ravaging their entire area. Also, they seem to be doing some kind of headbutting contest right now, so let's just leave them to it. Let's get on with this enclosure here, which is going to be a cherry blossom biome for tigers. Before we can actually make any progress, though, we've got to go ahead and collect ourselves some spruce wood. It's honestly kind of insane just how often I run out of this stuff. First, we've got to go ahead and build the outside barrier. Okay, now that that's done, let's layer in some dirt in here. The dirt's now been placed down, so I'm building a small little cave that the tigers can use as a den. We might have to make some modifications to this if the tigers can't fit into a 1-block gap. And we're of course going to use the usual stairs and slabs to make this look a lot more interesting. There's cherry blossoms not too far away, so I'll go on a little mission for those. We'll grab some of these peonies while we're out here as well. And actually, speak of the devil, there's a tiger right here that we can capture. I mean, he did attempt to bite me, which does not bode well for the fact that we're going to have to name these guys, but we'll figure that out later. There have been tiger fossil remains found in China that are believed to be 2 million years old. As well as that, their canine teeth can grow up to 4 inches long. These should be all the cherry saplings that we need. I'll also collect some pink petals while we're here. Finally, we'll grab some bamboo. We'll add in the cherry trees first. Tigers like to lounge around, so these will form a nice bit of shade for them. Although, that's a few too many cherry trees. Hold on. It took 1 or 2 or maybe 12 trees to get this whole thing right, but now it's looking a lot better. We'll now go around the area, bone meal everything so that we have a nice bit of grass. Then we'll plant down some bamboo shoots. Not too many, but enough to where it makes a difference. Finally, we throw in our pink petals and our peonies. And the last thing to do is to throw in some lanterns so that this doesn't turn into a creeper and zombie exhibit. Yeah, the lack of lighting in this place is really catching up to me. We've got some early visitors. I haven't set up a toll booth yet, which means you guys definitely haven't paid the admissions fee. How dare you, you freeloader. How else am I going to afford to buy 5 more flat screen TVs for my house? I really wish I grabbed a second tiger while I was at the other village. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. Here's our second tiger lounging around. We'll snap him up, and then we gotta walk all the way back home. In the names department, we'll go with juice, like orange juice, because the tigers are orange. And the other one we shall name Tigrex. Let's set them both free, and then very quickly we need to get out of here and board this place up. For some reason, my movement got really glitchy there when I released them. I just had to jump and hop my way to the exit. But look at that, they're napping on the rock, just like I wanted. And I forgot to name them. Great, that's 1. There we go. And that's 2. Oh my god, let's not die to the tigers in my own exhibit. Zookeeping is a very dangerous profession. I should be paying myself more. My god, that was terrifying. That's 3 exhibits done. Crocodiles, tigers, and elephants. This place is starting to come together, although, as you've probably noticed, it's looking a bit barren in between the exhibits. We really need to get ourselves a mending villager for an elytra, but I'm going to try and put that off as long as possible by decorating this area. First of all, for this weird sort of grassy verge thing here, I'm actually going to go ahead and push it back. And then all we do is bring the foundation down by 1 block. I'm not doing that all the way around because the terrain picks up there anyway, but just on this front bit I think it looks a lot nicer. Next up, we're going to want a nice winding path to connect everything with, which is where this smooth stone and these stone stepping stones come in. Although I am going to turn our smooth stone into slabs so that we get twice as much mileage out of it. I've tried my best to dig out a natural looking path. We then fill it all in with our stone slabs, and now that we've laid down those stones, we put the stone stepping stones on top here and there, and that creates this really nice bumpy path. The final step is just to make the area feel a bit more natural by using a bunch of bone meal. Look how much nicer this area feels now. One final thing that I want to do is just add some lanterns here and there to prevent mob spawns. Now then, I guess we better get on with getting ourselves a mending villager. I am brewing up some weakness potions though, so that we can infect and cure him, because I'm not paying full price for those mending books. And actually, while that's going on, I'm going to finally get rid of this stupid Frostwalker enchantment. Brought 3, depth 2, unbreaking 3, I'm happy with that. The Frostwalker enchantment was getting so bad, I wasn't even wearing our boots while building the exhibits in case we froze all the water. This whole thing should be a fairly simple process. It starts with kidnapping. This small dirt prison shall be mine in this guy's new home until either the heat death of the universe or he gives us a mending trade. I don't like how much freedom you've got. I'm blocking you in even more. I've been making Minecraft videos for 5 years now, which means for 5 years, this has been a staple every single video. I've been in here so long that the dirt in this pit has turned into grass. Me and Buddy here are getting turned into an ecosystem. Okay, there we go. 20 emeralds is extortionate, but I do not want to reset his trades anymore, so we'll just buy a bookshelf and lock that in. Now it's time to take this guy for some rehabilitation. It's simple, really. We just grab ourselves a zombie, and then we simply imprison him with our villager and let nature do the rest. We then murder the zombie in cold blood, and then we'll go ahead and convert this guy using our splash potion and a gapple. Right, now we just let this guy marinate for a while, so I'm just gonna go eat some food IRL. He's survived his rather unethical treatment, and now he's selling mending for 1 emerald. I was a bit concerned because I wasn't sure if 20 was going to get discounted all the way to 1, but those fears have been sorted. We'll go ahead and buy some books, and we're going to need to figure out what to do with this guy. Maybe it's time to decorate the bottom area of our house so that we actually have a place to put him. Before we do anything else, I will quickly check to see if we can get ourselves an Unbreaking 3 book. Sadly not, but it was worth a good try. Anyway, let's stick mending on our elytra. I'll then upgrade this diamond sword with mending and combine it with our other one, and that is going to give us a pretty formidable weapon. I mean, judging by the way releasing the animals into the enclosures is going, we're probably going to have to use it to defend ourselves. I do want to go ahead and collect a bunch of wood for sticks, which we'll then sell to our Fletcher, and we can then use all those emeralds that we make from him in order to upgrade our librarian. Because my thought process is that once we get him to a high enough level, he'll start selling us lanterns, and then we'll never need to mine iron again. I mean, the zoo's lighting infrastructure is already chronically underfunded. Oh, I think our Fletcher might have actually died because this guy's taking his place. I'm going to bring this guy back to our base as well. He's too valuable to be allowed to roam around freely. Here's his new temporary housing situation. He doesn't even get to be put in a room because we just don't really have any space for him. I'm glad the zoo's not open yet because trying to explain this situation to the public would be very difficult. With our newfound wealth, we can start leveling up our librarian more. And he's actually given us the ability to make infinite money from him because he's selling these bookshelves for 2 emeralds and he's doing 1 book per emerald. We simply destroy all the bookshelves and then sell all the books back to him. And also, all the XP we're getting from trading is repairing our elytra. And he even has a glass trade, which is perfect because we need tons of the stuff for our zoo. Unfortunately, after leveling this guy up to master, this guy doesn't have the lantern trade, but we get the glass trade instead, so I'm happy with that. With our villager issue sorted, I'm going to work on 2 smaller exhibits at the front. I'm thinking this one will be a desert, and then this one will be a badlands. I've also made the horrifying discovery that this dirt here is going to need to be extended, which means all this terraforming I did was pretty pointless. However, that is 100% a problem for future me, and I know that he's going to be very mad when he has to actually do all that. You guys know the drill here. We got to add the spruce and the glass before we can get started. We're going to need sand for the enclosure, of course, so let's fly ourselves to the beach using our new and improved elytra. We'll also head over to this nearby desert village to hopefully snag ourselves a camel. Yes, there we go. I mean, for all I know, these guys could be a guaranteed spawn. I'm not 100% sure. Rather conveniently, there's actually another desert village really close by, so we can go there and get a second one. Boom, there we go. Sorry, you're going to have a lot less freedom now, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. Spoiler alert, he probably won't, but nobody tell him that. I don't want him getting sad. The way camels move is by using both their left legs or both their right legs at once, which is called pacing. They can actually run up to 40 miles an hour, although they slow down very quickly because it tires them out. Also, for the past 20 seconds or so, I have been trying to fly while wearing a chest plate. You know, just another sign of my staggering intellect. This should be a really simple exhibit to make. Before we can place any sand, we do need to set up a layer of dirt so it doesn't fall down. Originally, I was just going to be lazy and pile up some sand in here and call it a day, but I think it'd be really nice if we gave them a little oasis in the middle. It's not going to be anything too insane, just a little mossy pool in the middle with a palm tree. I don't really know if this will look good or not, but I'm giving it a good go. Okay, that does not look quite right, so we'll try again. I'm trying to make sure that the leaves actually droop down. As a final touch, we'll add some spruce slabs to the bottom of the logs, and that is looking so much better than my first attempt. Probably a good idea to just pile up some sand here and there. I would add some cacti in here to decorate it, but camels, like every other Minecraft mob, will just wander straight into this stuff if given the chance, so we'll just have 2 deceased camels if we leave them in here. We'll just have to make do with dead bushes only. We'll also bone meal the pool as well as the moss. We do need some more leather for name tags, so I shall murder a few cows. We're also strong enough to hunt bison now, which gives us access to lots and lots of steak. I'm going to stay out tonight instead of sleeping, because we need to hunt creepers so that we can have more gunpowder for rockets. This is clearly the rough part of town. All these zombies have swords. 25 gunpowder should be enough for now. We can make ourselves over a stack of rockets with that. It's now time for us to name our camels. One of them should be called Esmeralda. There we go. And I could shamelessly name the other one Subscribe, which, I mean, you should subscribe, just saying, but I won't. I'm going to name him Humphrey instead. For once, releasing some animals is actually rather nice and peaceful. There's Humphrey, and here's Esmeralda. We're going to speedrun this next exhibit because it's going to be a very simple area for kangaroos. We'll fill this place up with red sand. We'll also need to grab ourselves 2 kangaroos. Kangaroos can't move backwards because of their large tails and feet, and there's a species of kangaroos that actually climb trees. We then plant in some dead bushes, and then we name these guys Hopper and Vegemite. I feel kind of bad because of just how barren their area is. We've given them some crates and a little bit of shrubbery just to make this area a bit more interesting. With all the front exhibits now done, let's move on to the interior design of our house. We need to give these villagers a better place to hang out in than these dirt boxes. I'll start with the restaurant area first, and our workbench actually gives us loads of different blocks to work with. We can make fridges, counters, sinks. There's a whole lot of stuff here. I'm going to start with the kitchen, which is going to go back here, and then work my way out to the seating area, which will be here. We'll have lots of drawers, sinks, and cabinets, of course. We'll also throw in some stoves with a little extractor fan things above, and we'll actually go ahead and duplicate that design on this side too. We'll also add our 2 fridges on the end here, and unfortunately you can't change the direction the doors face, otherwise I'd make a double fridge. I've never worked in the food industry or anything like that before, so I have no idea if this is going to be enough in terms of stoves and fridges and whatnot, but this is a zoo cafe after all, rather than Michelin fine dining. We're going to create a counter at the front as well, so people can come up and order their food here. We're going to go ahead and use some spruce to create a nice little wall to separate the kitchen from the main restaurant. Then we'll throw in some double doors like so, and finally we'll add in even more spruce. Then we'll create a cute little archway right here, and that can also be filled in as well. And with that done, we can grab our very first happy employee named Simon, and we're going to transport him to the kitchen. We'll throw in his workstation here, because then when he's using it, it will look like he's actually working in the kitchen. I've left this area blank as well because I want to go and get a farmer villager so that we can buy infinite golden carrots from him. Anyway, let's welcome Simon into his brand new job. He looks absolutely miserable, and he's already able to escape because I forgot to barricade the doors. The doors are now properly reinforced to prevent any employees from taking any unsanctioned breaks, so now if we spawn in Simon, he's gonna try and jump over the counter and escape. There we go. Okay, I think he's accepted his fate now. You're never leaving, my friend. Never. I've also just remembered Simon will be eaten by zombies unless we give him some proper light sources. Can you stop screaming, please? You're going to scare away the customers. Alright, Simon, get back in your cage. I have one final idea for the kitchen. Now, that is going to be a rather difficult line to explain to the authorities. We're going to upgrade this place with one final detail. A nice tiled checkered floor. That really brings this whole place together. It looks so much better now. Okay, you're welcome, Simon. Enjoy. His constant jumping might scare away any potential customers, so I'm going to swap these trapdoors for slabs, which should fix that issue. I've gone ahead and swapped to this design, which is a bit more bulky, but it's the best thing I could come up with. Okay, well now he just stares out the window and refuses to do any work. Simon, you are the worst forced employee ever. Looks like someone's not getting a Christmas bonus. We'll go with oak tables and chairs for this place. We've got a nice layout of tables and chairs here, plus a little bit of greenery that I'm trying to sprinkle in. It's kind of hard because we really don't have a lot of space. The final step is to have some spruce beams running across the ceiling to make it a bit more visually interesting. And as a final step, we'll add some extra details with trapdoors. And as one final step, we'll throw in some hanging lanterns. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that looks like a very nice, inviting restaurant. While I think about it, I guess I'll go and work on getting Simon a co-worker. You there, do you love your family? Oh, you do? Well, that's a shame, because you're never going to see them again. There's a zombie right here. That's perfect. Now then, zombie, I require you to murder this man. Good work, zombie. Thank you very much. I don't know about this weird hugging routine you guys have got going on there. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, we now splash this guy, and we'll get him converted. While he gets curing, we'll go ahead and start work on our museum portion. It's going to be a bit difficult to try and find interesting items for every single one of these benches, but I'll try my best. On this first one, we shall place the very first wooden pickaxe we ever crafted in this world. And this middle one here will house our dragon egg. We can also show off a shulker box. I feel like that would be pretty cool to see. Then on some of the tables, we could display plants and stuff. So look at this warped fungus. That's great. You'd come to this museum to look at this warped fungus. Don't lie. And then on this final table, we could just do a rock. Like it's a really special rare fossil or something. This may actually be the world's most boring museum. And I've been to some boring museums in my lifetime. I mean, have you ever wanted to learn about the history of Canadian paper mills? No, me either. I didn't think you would. Farmer Globus has now returned to his former self. So let's scoop him up. And then we'll add him into the kitchen. I do have a bit of trading to do because I need to get him to max level. It is going to require a decent amount of emerald investment, but I'm sure we can get there in no time. Globus, why are you cooking up suspicious stew back here? You're gonna poison all of our customers. There we go. Got him to max level, and now we can buy our golden carrots. I'm just gonna throw all of Globus's food in the kitchen drawer here to rot. So this section at the back is where the gift shop's gonna go, and making it interesting is gonna be really difficult because I already used all of our interesting trinkets for the museum. To start with, we'll do some big shelves on either side. We've also repurposed the kitchen countertops at the back here to make a little desk. Although now that I think about it, we're gonna have to do something similar to the kitchen so that we can continue contain our librarian villager in here. Then again, we could just do something like this and have some fenced gates leading into the gift shop itself. That way our villager will be able to free roam around this entire area. We'll have some little plants for sale in here. I think that would be quite cute. Little bookshelves too. Maybe these could be little tour guides or leaflets or whatever. And we'll do some more up here. Finally, we'll also add in some yellow and white carpets that seem to have become a staple in here. We'll also throw in some roof detailing like we did for the restaurant. This area is looking so nice now. The final step now is to scoop up Doofenshmirtz, our librarian. We've got his lectern right here, which also kind of looks like a cash register, so it works out really well. Then we place down Doofenshmirtz himself. And with that, we have now successfully incorporated villagers into our base. It's time for us to start work on a new large exhibit, and it's going to go right here. That does unfortunately mean that I'm going to need to do even more work on the terrain. I've got the circle for the area mapped out now. We're going to have to bring the dirt up a little bit around here, because as you can see, it's floating one block off the ground. I better go ahead and fill this whole area in. Alright, perfect, that's done. I want this area to be a snowy taiga with a large mountain in the middle, and the animals that will go in the enclosure are going to be snow leopards. The other thing that we're going to do, which is going to set this enclosure apart from the others, is that instead of the usual walls, we're going to build a giant glass dome. I want to do this because it will look really cool, but an in-law reason for our zoo why we need to do this is because it could be for temperature control reasons. The nearby mountains are very, very close, so let's fly over. And we've already found one! He's a little bit far out from home, but we'll come and grab him if we can catch up with him. There we go. Snow leopards have incredibly powerful legs, so they can jump up to 50 feet. Funny enough, they're actually more closely related to tigers than leopards. There should be a second one lurking around here somewhere. Perfect, here's our second. We've got to collect a bunch of blocks from this mountain and use them to build our own. It's times like these when having a silk touch shovel would be really useful. Alongside snow, we'll also need plenty of ice. Finally, we'll need to collect plenty of sand for our glass dome. We have all of the resources that we need, so let's get on with this. Behold our glorious glass dome. With the outside done, it's time for us to transition into the inside. I'm going to have the floor lowered by one block so that we have more space to build our mountain. First and foremost, we're going to fill this whole floor in with snow. Let's now start on the outline of the mountain. Although to be honest, I think it'll be less of a mountain and more of just a snowy mound. I'm mainly just trying to get a wireframe down, so I've got an idea of the general shape. Oh, go away. What do you even have for sale? The answer is nothing I care about. We're going to slowly build the stone up before transitioning into snow. And right at the very top, we'll transition into ice. This is looking okay so far, but in order to make it look actually natural, we're going to need to place a bunch of snow on top of the stone. It's looking much better now. We are also going to have to go around with lanterns, otherwise mobs can and will spawn on this thing. Actually, no, we can't do this because then the lanterns are going to melt all the snow. I'm not super bothered given that any mobs that spawn will just be contained inside here. We'll get on with adding a few bits of snow around the edges for some terrain variants. Let's then go ahead and grow ourselves some spruce trees in here. For a final bit of detail, we need to add snow to the leaves of the trees. You know how I was saying earlier about how people use these videos to sleep? I'd say by this point, we've lost about 80% of the viewers, which means if you're still awake watching this, you're either watching it in the middle of the day or you just still can't sleep, in which case I'm very sorry for you and I hope you fall asleep soon. We shall now release Powder and Cornetto into the exhibit. This next exhibit is going to be super simple. It's just going to be a small area for bears. I want to turn the exhibit into a flower forest, which is a bit of a pain considering the nearest one is 3,000 blocks away. We'll just fly up really high with our elytra and then coast along. Here we are. I've made sure that I've got my chest plate on while searching for grizzly bears. Perfect, there's our first one. And here's our second. Grizzly bears can weigh up to 700 pounds or 315 kilograms. They mainly live in Alaska, Canada, and parts of the northwestern USA. We'll plant every single flower that we've collected inside the enclosure. Then we'll plant a few trees here and there. As a final touch, we'll go around and bone mill the floor to add some grass. We'll now deposit in Paddington and Cookie. Cookie, stop biting me, stop! It's time to work on some enclosures that are a bit more out there, starting with a warped forest enclosure and a crimson enclosure. I've built the outsides of the enclosures already, because you guys have seen me do that plenty of times by now. It's not particularly interesting. The first one we'll be working on is the warped forest, so it's rather convenient that we spawn right next to one. All we really need is a bunch of this warped nylium stuff. And the other thing that we'll need is 2 of these warped toads. Hey, here we go, here's our second one. Warped toads can be tamed by feeding them crimson mosquito larvae. They're also capable of swimming in both water and lava. Okay, let's remove all the dirt in the enclosure and then cover the ground in warped nylium. Then we'll get all of our warped mushrooms planted and bone mealed. Then we'll go around and bone meal the floor so that we get a bit of warped grass in here. Can't forget about the lanterns either. That includes placing a few on the tops of the warped fungi trees just so that mobs can't spawn on top. Let's release our 2 toads, Greeble and Schmeeble. There we go. We can now move on to the Crimson Forest. Originally in the Crimson Forest we were going to have drop bears in our zoo, but since they can jump and climb on the underneath of blocks, that feels like a terrible idea. Instead, we'll simply grab ourselves some Striders. Striders originally had a fin in their texture file which couldn't be seen in game and was later removed. Their bobbing walk was actually an accident, content. However, developers found it amusing and so it was kept. Since we're going to have striders in our exhibit, I'm going to collect a bunch of iron for buckets so that we can give them a nice big lava lake in the middle. All this iron's also going to come in handy for crafting more lanterns. While all of that's smelting, I'm going to work on the exhibit. This is where the lava lake's going to go. I'm really hoping that it can't spread to these spruce columns or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're going to have to make 2 trips so that we can collect all the lava that we need. Our glorious lava lake has been completed, and I also spent the night killing creepers so that we have a few more rockets. We'll do exactly the same thing that we did for the warp forest, which is just go and plant a bunch of crimson mushrooms. We've got to make sure that we bring in plenty of grass as well. Then let's deposit in our striders. Thing 1 and thing 2. And that reminds me, actually, I want to move our nether portal into the crimson forest. That just makes much more sense. This is a perfect spot for it. Although now that I think about it, I am going to put some crimson fence gates in front of the portal so that our striders don't just wander into it and get lost. There's not actually that many exhibits left for us to build in order for us to finish our zoo. We only really have, I'd say, 5 more exhibits to build. This exhibit here is going to be a jungle themed exhibit for pandas. Once we've got every single exhibit placed in, that's when I'll go around and finish the paths and connect everything up. Since we live right next to multiple jungles, getting all the blocks that we need for decoration should be incredibly easy. And there's even 2 pandas right here, which is perfect. Pandas consume up to 50 pounds or about 22 kilograms of bamboo daily. They also have tiny babies, with newborn cubs being roughly the size of a stick of butter. We'll grow some giant jungle trees in this enclosure to give it a sense of scale. We'll also plant bamboo and place down some melons. We'll release our 2 pandas, Po from Kung Fu Panda and not Po, because I couldn't think of a second name. I will come back and use some bone meal in here, but we're going to have to wait for this dirt to turn to grass first. This next exhibit is going to be a giant fish tank for sharks. I've placed all the water on top of this dirt layer so that we can just mine the dirt and then the water will fill out the entire exhibit. We'll throw in a whole bunch of different coral formations in here to make it look nice and interesting. We'll also plant in a bit of kelp. We'll use sea pickles as a light source. And finally, we'll use bone meal to grow seagrass. We need to find ourselves some sharks to fill in the exhibit, which doesn't seem to be too difficult to achieve. Here's our first one, and here's our second. Shark's skin feels similar to sandpaper, and if you flip a shark upside down, it will enter a trance-like state called tonic immobility. We shall name them Chompy Jr. This one's already trying to kill me. Elytra, please. Thank you. And this one should be Chompy Senior. And look at that. We've got a fully functioning shark tank in our zoo. The 2 final exhibits that we've got for our zoo are going to be for Mimicubes from the end and a mythical creature in this one called the Sunbird. Here's the Mimicube right here in the book. And this is the mythical Sunbird. It's very rare, so this is going to be our final goal for the 100 days. We're going to build the exhibit, and then on day 100, we're going to try and find ourselves the Sunbird. The Mimicube area should be simple enough. It'll be the same style of exhibit, and then just a bunch of end stone and some chorus fruit. The Sunbird's exhibit will be a bit more complicated because they do live atop mountains, but we already have our snow leopard exhibit over there, so it would look a bit too similar. We're also going to need to build a giant glass dome again, because otherwise it will just fly away. So I was thinking, because they're fiery birds and they're invincible to lava and fire damage, we could build our Sunbird a volcano. And then of course, once the exhibits are done, we can get on with adding the path and also fixing the terraforming on the edges of the zoo, because this is dreadful, let's be honest. Let's head out and retrieve ourselves our 2 Mimicubes. While we're here in the stronghold, I'm actually going to stock up on bookshelves as well. And while we're here, we'll also grab an amethyst cluster from this geode because it'll make for a really nice trinket in our shop. I am also making sure to keep an eye on our elytra durability because we don't want it to pop while we're soaring above the void. We should be able to find some Mimicubes in this end city somewhere. I was getting a bit concerned, but I finally found one. I was going to say, I wasn't expecting to have killed them because they're just a massive pain to kill. They're capable of mimicking the gear that you've got on when you first hit them, so I do not want these guys having diamond swords and armor. Here's our second Mimicube, and now we shall put our elytra on before jumping off, my word. Alongside copying a player's weapons and armor, Mimicubes can even copy food and use it to heal themselves. Unlike slimes and magma cubes, Mimicubes do not come in any different sizes. All that's left to do is to collect some chorus flowers so we can grow our own chorus fruit, and the other thing we'll need is plenty of endstone. While I'm here, I might as well say a few things. First of all, if you're still watching, thank you for taking the time out of your day to enjoy my content. It means a lot. And the second thing is that for those of you who watched the previous video, the Ralph 100 Days, thank you all so much for the positive reception on that video. These kinds of building 100 days that are a bit shorter and not as crazy with all the mods and stuff, they're very new to me, so I'm super glad that you guys are enjoying this new style of content. It's been over 5 years now since I uploaded my first Minecraft video, which makes me feel incredibly old. But thank you for sticking with me, no matter how long it was. Even if this is your very first video, thank you. I'm incredibly lucky to have been able to make a career out of this, and yeah, just want to say a bit of a thank you. It's a good job we're going home now, because my elytra is very nearly gone. Before we go, let's collect a bit of obsidian, because I think it'd be very cute if we turned our end end biome exhibit thing into a mini sort of end recreation. We'll use the obsidian to make mini pillars, and we'll use cobblestone to represent the bedrock for the fountain. Doofenshmirtz, look, I have brought new stock for your shop because you haven't sold anything yet. You suck at this. I've also just realized he's managed to get himself wedged between a plant pot and the window. What an imbecile. Also, what is it with villagers and trying to stand on top of their workstations? Anyway, let's throw in the amethyst cluster, and that looks really, really nice. I will let you go ahead and swap it around with the lantern. Yeah, that looks better. Anyway, here you go. We got plenty of books to sell you because we need our elytra to be fixed. And I will also buy some more glass off you. Sometimes an efficiency 5 shovel is more of a hindrance than a help when it comes to digging out elaborate bits like this. If I'm not careful, I end up deleting a bunch of extra dirt and having to place it back in. It can go all of the planks first, and then we'll need to do the logs and the glass. We then need to dig the whole area out and replace it with end stone. Let's get our end fountain thrown in next. And I was thinking, if we use skulk in here, this starry texture makes it look like it's been lit. I'm not sure if it's better to have it set 1 block into the ground or out like this. Oh, actually, I definitely prefer it on the surface. I mean, that looks pretty convincing if you squint your eyes. We'll also throw in the obsidian pillars, and that has come out looking very cute indeed. Onto the chorus flowers next, which we'll just plant everywhere. And in order to light this place up, we'll use end rods. Our 2 mimicubes shall be named Inky and Blinky, like the Pac-Man ghosts. They're already trying to murder me, so let's get out of here. Before we build the glass dome for our sunbird, I'm going to tidy up the few areas of the house that are still looking a bit barren. We have all these areas that are fully decorated, and then there's just a few pockets where it's a bit more lacking. The easiest solution right off the bat, some big bookshelves to fill up the space, as well as some cauldrons with leaves in them to represent plants. And also throwing in the yellow and white rugs just to make the floor more interesting. We'll add a little reading desk on this side, and on the other, I've gone ahead and thrown a painting down and a table. When it comes to lighting, we can use our trusty lanterns. This area is genuinely infuriating, but I'm thinking if we get rid of these weird blocks here, we could replace it with an aquarium. I mean, this might look really bad, but it's worth a shot. We'll use this kitchen cabinet type block again so that we can make a little ledge for the aquarium. Although maybe not spruce because it blends in too much with the floor. Oh, I like this with dark oak a lot more. We'll make sure we get the entire thing filled in properly. I'm also making sure that all of this water is water source blocks, just so that there's no running water sound that would drive me insane. We'll throw in a few coral fans here and there, as well as some sea pickles for light. Oh, you can't even see the coral fans. I probably should have thought about that. We'll bring the whole thing up by 1 block. This is looking so good now. We just got to make our way out to the warm ocean to scoop up some fish. Tropical fish, come here. We're adding in 3 tropical fish to our aquarium, as well as 1 sardine. He's already trying to escape. Stop it. The sardine AI does not like being trapped in here, so I'm gonna have to pick him back up. Look how cute this thing is, though. I'm in love with it. In fact, that's actually my favorite bit in this whole house. We'll also decorate this table by adding a map of our zoo, although we'll have to take it out and update it once this area is done. There's not much we can do on these stairs decoration-wise, but we can make them a bit more inviting by adding lanterns here. For the sake of making my life a bit easier, I'm just gonna copy this design here over to this side. I've realized a little late I've made a horrible mistake. This wall on this side comes out 1 block further than this one does over here, so we need to pull this one forward by 1. And with that, the upstairs is now completely finished, looking a lot nicer. All that's really left is this area by the front door. The first step is definitely to add some extra depth to the door inside, and we'll make the walls nice and even. We'll just go with something really simple. We'll have some coarse dirt and then some sweet berry bushes. Although the coarse dirt's a bit too brown for me, given that we've got so much wood going on, so let's replace it with moss. To add even more extra depth, we'll have one of these wooden beams across here. Look at how much better that is. Our museum and cafe building is now complete. Let's get to work on our second giant glass dome. For our mini volcano in here, we'll start with stone at the bottom and then transition into darker colors as the stone gets more and more burnt at the top. I am going to stock up on some golden carrots before we go. What on earth is going on in here? Can you guys do your jobs for once? Oh, see, now you want to behave. Guys, look at all the customers out here. Get your act together or this zoo's going to have to shut down. I love that even from here, you can still see Doofenshmirtz trying to escape out the window. This reminds me of when I wanted to put in a screaming sound effect for a villager in one of my videos, except I accidentally messed up at some point during the editing and put it at a completely random point, so then it just confused everybody. I'm pretty sure in every single video that I've uploaded, there's always at least one random editing mistake, and I'm sure that most of you guys don't even know or care, but it keeps me up at night. Like, unironically, I would just be in bed mad over the fact that I let some random edit get messed up. For the first time in my life, I actually want to be near a basalt deltas in the nether, because we need to get a bunch of blackstone. Finally, here we go. See, after I did the time-lapse of that glass sphere last night, I've woken up, hopped straight on the craft. I've had 1 Red Bull and a Kit Kat for my breakfast. We're going to collect plenty of basalt too, because this will be a great transition block from stone to basalt to blackstone. Some lava would also not be a bad idea, as well as some magma blocks. And we can actually get lots more of these in the nether waste biome. We'll start with a stone outline for our volcano. We'll just really try and make it look nice and rough and uneven. Now, you might say that having an active volcano in a zoo is very dangerous and breaks probably every health code violation in the book, but to that I say it's part of the unique charm farm of the Mozi Zoo. Here's a general plan for the transition of texture on our volcano. The bottom layer is going to be a mixture of stone and cobblestone so that we can get more texturing in. It's looking good so far. I am a little bit concerned about us managing to find the sunbird on day 100, but we'll make it work. We will track down that thing and imprison it for life. Here's where we'll start transitioning into our basalt, and then finally we can move into our scorched blackstone and magma. So far so good, although I want the magma to look like it's dripping down, so we'll add a bit more. Yeah, that's looking better now. I do want to also add lava flowing down the sides, but before we add that in, we'll make sure to add in the floor first. We're going to use a bunch of coarse dirt for the floor because grass doesn't really make much sense next to an active volcano. I was thinking that we could then use some blackstone walls to represent burnt trees. I don't know how well this is going to translate across since it's such a small scale, but it's worth a try. And then the final thing we'll do is use some blackstone and tuff to represent molten lava patches. This is where things could go very, very wrong because we're going to be pouring the lava down now. And already I don't like this because of how much of the volcano it's going to cover. We might have a bit more success if we give it a channel that it can flow through. Look at that, that's much better. This channel should be good to go as well. Yes, it's working perfectly. That's the third spill finished, so now we've just got this one over here. The best way that I've found to guide the lava without it looking too conspicuous is by using slabs to block it in. And look at that, it's worked perfectly. I'm really happy with how this area has turned out. And plus, because of all the lava, we don't even need to light anything up. The one thing that we're missing though is a campfire right in the middle to give us a good old-fashioned smoke effect. Oh, it feels so much more alive with that. With that finished, it's time for the final push before day 100 to make this zoo as pretty as it possibly can be. It's a good job that we've got a lot of dirt. I had to lock in like crazy for this, but ladies and gentlemen, the zoo is finally complete. Minus our sunbird, of course. I cannot emphasize just how happy I am with the area now. The paths really tied all together. And look at this, the terrain actually looks pretty realistic now. All the way around now, this entire place is all connected up and it is looking so good. It's definitely been a grind, but it's been so worth it. But of course, it's time to track down our final animal. We've got our master capture set at the ready. We'll also grab a name tag, and we shall craft up our final set of rockets. The book specified the sunbird can only be found atop the tallest mountains, so that's where we're gonna go. Having a render distance this high is an absolute treat. Usually I only have about 8 when I'm playing mod packs. I've also got to fly up and check at the higher altitudes in case the sunbirds are flying up above the mountains. There's got to be a sunbird lurking around somewhere, and I'm determined to find it. Oh, yes! Yes! Come on, we just got to grab him! We got him! Ladies and gentlemen, the sunbird is ours. The sunbird's design was inspired by the Pokemon Ho-Oh. There is a real-life, non-mythical, non-fire-resistant sunbird. It's a lot different. Let's place down our mystical, glorious creature atop our volcano, the sunbird, the king of all, and we shall name him Larry. Just look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching this video. As a comparison, this is what our area looked like on day 1 of this world, and this is what it looks like on day 100. That's it from me. I hope you guys learned some cool animal facts. I hope you have a lovely day/night, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!